Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Harold Fralich's 1985 Asian Journey, Part 3. This is a continuation of this amazing trip that Harold, my father's cousin, took with his son Terry. They had a tremendous adventure hiking in the Himalaya Mountains in Nepal and traveling in India. Thursday, May 9th, 1985. Gorkha, Nepal. The temperature is 82 degrees today. Immediately we went to the local pub. We sat and rested for about a half hour, during which the four of us consumed 20 bottles of lemon Fanta. The elevation at Gorkha is 1,600 feet. I would estimate the population of Gorkha between 6,000 and 7,000 people. Our fairly modern hotel, where you can get a cold shower for 10 rupees. Tonight we had a fine dinner. My appetite is better now. The staff and hikers all ate together. The best spinach I have ever eaten. We gave the staff gifts of both clothes and money. They certainly deserve the gifts. We sang and danced for about 45 minutes, and I retired at 9:30 p.m. Ken calculated that we hiked a total of approximately 100 miles with a total elevation change of 80,000 feet up and down. Excuse me. Up and down. Friday, May 10th. Woke up at 5 o'clock a.m. Boarded the bus after all group pictures were taken at 6:30 a.m. for the 6-hour bus ride back to Kathmandu. It seems nice to be riding rather than walking. At this time, 9:50 a.m., about 3/4 of the people in the bus are sound asleep. There are about 20 of our people riding on the top of the bus. Later, 1:15 p.m. About 11:30 it started raining, so the group from the top of the bus quickly came inside. The final 10 miles coming into Kathmandu we climbed from an elevation of 1,500 feet to an elevation of 4,400 feet. It was a very steep, twisting, winding road. Not really the type of road that you like to be driving on in a beating rain. We did make it, however, and arrived at Kathmandu at 1:15 p.m. We immediately came to Hotel Asia and rested for about half an hour. Terry and I then went to the central phone office to call Marge. I love Marge so much, and I have missed her so. Sorry we woke her at 4:20 a.m. It only took about 30 minutes to get the call through. We then went to the American Express office and picked up our most welcome letters. Back to the hotel for the first real shower, even though it was cold water, that we have had in 3 weeks. The group had an excellent farewell dinner here at Hotel Asia. Part of the staff were with us for dinner. We ate the entire dinner with our fingers. No eating utensils were given. After dinner, several short remarks by Kern and others in the group, and then farewells. 8 members of the group are located in various cities in the East, from Washington, D.C. to Cape Elizabeth, Maine. We are planning a reunion over the Christmas holidays, probably in Maine. I came back to the room and retired at 10 o'clock p.m. Saturday, May 11th. Woke up at 5 o'clock a.m. as usual. I guess it is just routine now. I stayed in bed until 5:40 a.m. and then got up. Had our last group breakfast at the Hotel Asia. We took our sleeping bags back to the rental office. That was a good deal. Our rental charge for the bags for 20 days was $9. We wandered for an hour and bought some cards and maps. At 10 o'clock a.m. we moved from the Asia Hotel down about a quarter mile to the Tibet Guest House. This is a quieter section and the hotel is much nicer. The rates are $13 a night for a double room, including breakfast. At 11 o'clock a.m. a group of us went to the Yak and Yeti Hotel, probably a 3-star hotel. For $6 each, we could use the sauna room and the swimming pool all day. We had the first hot showers that we have had in 3 weeks. How wonderful. We stayed at the Yak and Yeti until mid-afternoon. Terry and I then walked to Durbar Square. Saturday is the religious day here in Kathmandu, so many of the stores and offices were closed. This city is unbelievable. Contrast is the word. Contrast between some of the beautiful natural sights and the street scenes. The utter degradation and poverty. Contrast between the people from many parts of the world that are wandering the streets day and night. Contrast between the beggars in the streets. Some are children 3 years old, others shriveled bodies that look to be age 100. Contrast between the buildings and various types of architecture that you see. Also the state of repair or disrepair among the buildings. Contrast between the 20th century and an era that goes back 400 years in time. Cultural and religious contrasts. When you see the 1,000-pound Brahma sacred bull sitting right in the middle of New Road, the major street in Kathmandu, with all types of traffic, people, rickshaws, bicycles, cars, trucks, buses going around him. There is no traffic control or rules whatsoever here in Kathmandu. It is every person, vehicle, or animal for himself. A group of us took Mingma and Dawa out to dinner at KC's. Had a wonderful dinner, and came back to our new hotel about 10 o'clock p.m. The rest of the group went to the disco to dance. I wrote some postcards and retired at 12:30 a.m. Sunday, May 12th. I did better this morning. I did not wake up until 6 o'clock a.m. Several from our group had breakfast together. Liddy and I took a bicycle rickshaw to the National Office of Tourism and got the free posters and maps. In the afternoon, Terry and I walked to Swayambhu. This is the largest and oldest stupa sanctuary in Nepal. It was started over 2,000 years ago after Buddha's birth. There's a marvelous view of Kathmandu from there. We spent about an hour at the temple and then came back to the hotel. We both had a very welcome nap for about an hour. Neither of us are completely recovered yet from the trek. Again this evening, a group of us had dinner together. I made the mistake tonight for the first time and ordered a hot chicken dish. It was full of chili peppers. It was good, but very hot. I came back to the hotel and was going to write, but the electricity in this section of town was off, so I retired at 10 o'clock p.m. The rest of the group went to the disco for the evening's dancing. Monday, May 13th. Got up this morning at 6:20 a.m., had breakfast, and started to seek a cab that we could hire for 4 hours. Immediately, we found out that there is a cab and bus strike today. We said our goodbyes to everyone in our group that is leaving this afternoon. Sue, Terry, and I are the only members of the group that are still here. We then walked to the Antapurna Hotel. The Yeti Travel Service made arrangements to hire a private car and driver for 5 hours this afternoon. Total cost $24. We went to Patan and Bhaktapur and did some shopping and more wandering around. We returned to our guest house at 5:30 p.m. Terry has just gone out for a shave and haircut, cost 20 cents. When he returns, we will go out to dinner. After returning from shopping, we had a good dinner, came back to the guest house, and packed for tomorrow's trip. We were both tired and retired at 10 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, May 14th. 11:30 a.m. at the airport. 179 pounds, fully dressed. Got up at 6:45 a.m. We had breakfast with Sue. Terry and I went over to the little tailor shop and got our two new vests. They are lovely, which were done by 10 o'clock a.m. Murugma and Dawa both stopped at the hotel to say goodbye. We arrived at the airport about 11 o'clock a.m. The plane was to leave at 12:30, Indian Air. The flight left at 1 o'clock p.m. It was a pleasant flight, about 45 minutes. The temperature in Varanasi, India is 104 degrees. It is hot. It took us an hour and a quarter to clear customs at the airport. We found out at the airport that because of some counterfeit American Express checks that have been circulating, no one in Varanasi except the central bank in the city will accept American Express checks. The bank is only open from 10 o'clock a.m. till 1 o'clock p.m. each day. This creates a small immediate problem. Varanasi is a city of 1 million people. We are going to take a taxi tour of the city at 5 o'clock p.m. Tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock a.m. we will go down to the Ganges River to watch the activity going on there. We took a 3-hour tour of the city. We visited 2 beautiful Hindu temples and drove through the university grounds, 25,000 students. the largest university in India and the third largest in Asia. This university has 1,600 acres, attractive clean grounds. Also part of the university is a large hospital and medical college. The university is truly an oasis right in the middle of this wild, teeming city. There are 35,000 bicycle rickshaw taxicabs, probably 150,000 bicycles, thousands of other vehicles of all descriptions, and all of the sacred cows and the goats, pigs, and boars that wander the streets at will. There are also no traffic regulations and rules whatsoever. It is just go for it. We returned to the hotel at 8 o'clock p.m. We were alone in the dining room at the hotel. We had a good dinner and retired at 10 o'clock p.m. Wednesday, May 15th. Arose at 4:20 a.m. We are just leaving for our trip to the Ganges River. We took an hour-and-a-half rowboat along the river. What goes on in the Ganges during the early mornings is unbelievable. We rowed up and down along the shore of the river for about 2 miles. In that space, we watched 1,000 people in the Ganges, taking baths and washing their hair, performing various religious rites, swimming, washing all of their clothes, and then beating them on flat rocks along the edge of the river. At the same time that these various activities were occurring, we witnessed 2 cremations. The dead bodies were wrapped in colorful cloth and laid on wood planks. The feet were then dipped into the river. Then the entire wood plank and body were taken about 20 feet up on the bank and placed on top of a roaring open wood fire. After the body is burned, and the ashes will then be dispersed into the river. We observed 5 to 6 dead cows, the whole or partial carcasses floating in the river. 9 large vultures were perched on and ravenously pulling one of the carcasses apart and eating it, a truly unforgettable scene. We then walked through the narrowest street in Varanasi, about 7 feet wide, with very small, crowded shops on both sides of the street. I got held up for about a minute by one very large cow right in the middle of this street that I had a difficult time getting around. We walked up to the Golden Temple, which is located on this street. This is one of the oldest and major Hindu temples in Varanasi. We were not allowed to go in the shrine, however, we did walk all around the red stone building with its golden high dome. This afternoon we took the National Tourist Bureau's tour of Sarnath and the areas surrounding Varanasi. 3rd century B.C. Cost of the tour 80 cents. It was an interesting 4.5-hour tour. Sarnath and all of the grounds surrounding the temple are fascinating. This is one of the most ancient and largest Buddhist temples. The construction of this temple was started in the 5th century B.C. The excavation of the grounds was started about 80 years ago. It is a beautiful temple, well worth the visit. We returned to the hotel about 7 o'clock p.m., and we discovered that in the large conference room right beside the dining room, an Indian wedding was taking place. This seemed to be a big affair, probably 300 people in attendance. The hall was very colorfully decorated. Dozens of small children seemed to be participating in this ceremony. We got to view the ceremony during our entire dinner, which was excellent. It was hot today, 105 degrees, which saps your energy. It is now 11:10 p.m. Even though the wedding ceremony seems to be now heating up in intensity with live music now, I am going to retire. Thursday, May 16th. Arose about 7:45 a.m., a better night's sleep. Had breakfast at the hotel. Fresh fruit. It was very good. Terry wanted to do some more shopping at the government-controlled craft, art, and silk store, so we went back to that store. We took a picture of the 2 salesmen that we had gotten to know yesterday. Terry may stay at the man's home when he is in Bach. Came back to the hotel and packed and prepared to leave. It is noon now. We are just leaving for the airport. Our plane for Agra leaves at 1:25. It is a 2-hour flight. We left Varanasi at 1:55 p.m. I'm happy to leave this city. I will probably never return. We arrived at the Mughal Sheraton Hotel at 4:30 p.m. It is a beautiful hotel. We had a swim and then left for our first view of the Taj Mahal. The Taj is simply magnificent. We spent about 2 hours walking all around and through the Taj Mahal, and returned to the hotel and had dinner tonight in the Indian restaurant, a fine dinner. We came back to the room about 10:30 p.m. We are going to get up at 4:30 to see the Taj at sunrise, so retired at 11 o'clock p.m. Friday, May 17th. Arose at 4:50 a.m. We left for the Taj at 5:20. We spent several hours at the Taj, magnificent at sunrise. We took a number of photographs. The Taj is truly an inspiring sight, particularly at sunrise. We then toured the Red Fort, which was built in the 15th century. This fort housed a complete kingdom, including an army, within these grounds. The wall running around the fort is 40 feet high and 16 feet thick. A wide, deep moat surrounds the entire fort. The fort is approximately 3 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. This is where the builder of the Taj was imprisoned the last 10 years of his life. 20,000 people worked around the clock for 22 years to build the Taj. It was built in the early 17th century. We then visited a tomb of the grandfather of the builder of the Taj. This tomb is called the Mini Taj. The only comparison that I would make is that the Mini Taj is also built of white marble. It is a very symmetrical building. It is only about 1/5 the size of the Taj and not too splendid a building. We then toured by bicycle rickshaws the one edge of Agra. It is filthy and poverty-ridden, similar to Varanasi. We returned to the hotel about 11:30. We plan to spend the afternoon and evening here. At this hour, the temperature is again 104 degrees. I had a nap this afternoon. I then tried to make the phone call to Brayley for Rotary. After waiting for 2.5 hours, I was informed that the telephone lines are not working. They are being repaired. I'll try the call again tomorrow. Terry and I then both had a swim in the swimming pool. The swim was followed by a sauna for a half hour. The sauna outside dimensions 7 feet by 10 feet, then a massage. All 3 activities were very relaxing. It is 6 o'clock p.m. We are sitting in the coffee shop with the Taj Mahal in view, writing letters and cards and updating our diaries. We will walk over to the Taj again before dinner. We had a fine dinner in the Chinese restaurant this evening. We sat at dinner and talked until 10 o'clock p.m. and retired at 10:45 p.m. Saturday, May 18th. Got up at 5:45 a.m., then got packed and over to the bus terminal by 6:45. The bus was supposed to leave at 7 o'clock a.m. It left at 7:45. The bus is very nice, modern, but not air-conditioned. It was a pleasant 4.5-hour ride to Jaipur, the Pink City. Jaipur, a city of 1,100,000 people, is the most modern Indian city that we have seen so far. It has paved main streets, traffic lights, and appears to be much cleaner. Tomorrow morning we are going to take a city tour. Our hotel, the Rambagh Palace, is a former Maharaja's palace. Our room, the Lord Mountbatten Suite, measures 60 feet by 36 feet, with appropriate furniture. This hotel has tennis courts, squash courts, a large swimming pool, which we are going to use later this afternoon, and magnificent dining rooms. We had a fine lunch in one of the dining rooms this noon. The grounds are very extensive with beautiful flower gardens and fountains. This hotel has many more occupants than the Sheraton in Agra did last night. We went for a swim for about an hour. Upon returning to our room, our first panic session of the entire trip. 2 of our bags, my duffel bag containing clothes and Terry's camera bag containing both cameras and all film, plus Terry's diary, plus several gifts that Terry has purchased, were missing. After contacting the manager of the hotel, we had a miserable, worried dinner. I'm happy to say that at about 10 o'clock p.m. the 2 missing bags appeared, so a happy ending. We retired at 11:20 p.m. Sunday, May 19th. Awoke at 5:40 a.m. with the finest thing possible, Marge's phone call. It was certainly wonderful talking to Marge and hearing the good news that everyone is fine at home. 1 week from today, I will be in the process of flying back to the U.S. We took the city bus tour of Jaipur this morning. It was excellent with an English-speaking guide. We were on the tour for 5 hours, during which we toured several of the palaces and most of the other major places of interest in Jaipur. This is really a very interesting city. It is a great contrast in many ways to the two other Indian cities that we have visited. It is so much cleaner, more modern, even the little merchants open front shops, and attractively laid out even though it is 4,000 years old. This morning we saw many beautiful peacocks in the gardens at our hotel. I am amazed that you see hundreds of camels here in this area used as beasts of burden, pulling all kinds of carts, etc. Of course, we are much closer to the desert here than we were in Agra. We got back to the hotel at 1:45 p.m. We rested for an hour, then went over to the pool and swam for an hour and a half. It is hot again today, 105 degrees, so the swim was wonderful. It is now 5:45 p.m. Terry is still over at the pool writing. I'm going to change these dirty clothes in preparation for dinner. We leave here tomorrow at 5:30 a.m., headed for Udaipur. We are flying. We had a wonderful dinner. We walked over these beautiful grounds once more this evening and retired at 10:30 p.m. Monday, May 20th. We got up at 5 o'clock a.m. As we were leaving the hotel this morning, once again I am impressed with the superb beauty and magnificence of the Rambagh Palace and the grounds surrounding this hotel. During the past several days, we truly have been staying in a palace and living like kings. The flight to Udaipur was right on time. We arrived at the hotel about 10 o'clock a.m. The Lake Palace Hotel is on an island approximately a half-mile from the shore of Udaipur. This is a very lovely hotel also. It is a former Shah's palace. However, this doesn't compare with the Rambagh Palace. It is cooler here, I imagine, because of the water. We are going to swim in the hotel pool, although I would like to swim in the lake and have a massage this afternoon. We're just going to take it easy this evening. Tomorrow we will tour Udaipur and do some sightseeing. This is a much smaller city, about 300,000, and it appears to be a very clean city in contrast to other Indian cities where we have been. The massage was fine. Mr. Nathulal, he is age 65, gives a good deep muscle massage. Very relaxing for tired muscles. We had a fine dinner. We both did some writing in our journals. I retired at 10 o'clock p.m., and Terry was still reading. Tuesday, May 21st. Arose at 6:30 a.m. It is another beautiful sunny day. We are just about to leave for the city of Udaipur. Thought, I would like to take a trip to England, Egypt, and Israel with Terry in March 1986. The tour lasted 4.5 hours. It was interesting, even though our guide spoke limited English. We toured several beautiful Nuar palaces built in the 16th and 17th centuries, very elaborate with tile and marble. Surrounding both of these palaces are beautiful flower gardens with many lovely water fountains interspersed at appropriate locations within the gardens. As you may expect, the lawns in these gardens are being mowed by hand. That is, a group of 3 to 4 Indian women are moving along in rows, actually pulling the grass. Right across from our hotel on the mainland is one of the largest palaces. Hundreds of rooms and many open courtyards with pools. This palace consists of 3 separate buildings. One of the sons of the last Maharaja occupies one of these buildings as his residence. Another one of these buildings has been converted into a luxury hotel. We toured one of these suites this afternoon. The rooms are spacious and magnificent. The rates for a suite are $240 a day. We both had a nap this afternoon. We swam in the pool and wrote in our journals. We had a fine dinner and retired at 10:30 p.m. The Big Dipper was upside down. Why? To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Harold Fralich's 1985 Asian Journey, Part 3. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history, if this interests you. Finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.